Jaylen Slade was a name that echoed through the hallways of high schools across the nation. At 16, he was already being whispered about as the next big thing in track and field. The speed, the power, the seemingly effortless progression that had everyone stunned. One minute, he was just another kid on the track team, and the next, he was breaking records and lining up next to legends. His rise was nothing short of meteoric, and it seemed like nothing could stop him. In his junior year of high school, Jaylen had many people talking. He dropped jaw-dropping times in the 100, the 200, and the 400, leaving coaches, athletes, and the sports journalists scrambling to figure out how this teenager had ascended so fast. Natural talent, they said, a prodigy. It felt as if Jaylen had came out of nowhere, and it wasn't long before he started drawing the attention from the biggest sports brands. One company in particular saw the potential to build a superstar, Adidas. Adidas made its move, offering Jaylen a deal that most high schoolers could only dream of. It was the perfect scenario for Jaylen, who had always dreamed of going pro early. So in a blink of an eye, he made the decision. He was turning pro. He signed the contract, took the money, and officially became an Adidas athlete. But something strange started happening almost immediately after the deal was inked. Jaylen was on the path to stardom, yet he never quite made it there. At the end of his high school season, Slade went to the 2020 Olympic trials as a high schooler running for IMG. He went and ran the 100 meters where something strange happened. Meters into the race, his body had an awkward jerk, and it caused him to flip, caused his glasses to fly 30 feet into the air and come crashing down. His glasses broke, he was helped off the track, and we essentially never saw him again. In the years following, he began posting training videos on social media, clips from him sprinting, lifting weights, and promising to be in peak shape for upcoming meets. He would announce that he was competing in high-profile events, hyping up his fan base and building anticipation for his professional debut. Yet, every time a meet approached, something would go wrong. First off, it was a minor hamstring tweak. Then it was a lingering foot issue. Each time, Jaylen would pull out of a meet at the last minute, leaving fans and sponsors frustrated. His social media presence grew more dramatically, filled with videos of intense workouts, cryptic captions about getting ready for war or bigger things coming soon. But as the months went by, the promise of seeing Jaylen compete on the professional stage became more and more distant. It became pretty common. Every time Jaylen announced that he was running at a meet, the whispers would start. Is he really going to show up to the line this time? But he would always end up pulling out, citing some injury or personal use, and often no reason at all. And yet, every week, without fail, he would post yet another video of himself sprinting at full speed, doing block works, and looking explosive as ever. It wasn't long before rumors began to circulate. Some speculated that Jaylen was never really injured, and that he simply was milking the Adidas deal for all it was worth. Others believed that he had lost his passion for the sport and was content living off of his sponsorship money without the pressure of actually competing. But Jaylen didn't care. The money was already in the bank, and he was living a life that he had always dreamed of. But there was one thing missing. Despite posting training videos of practice sessions, one thing was missing, and that was any evidence that he was still a track and field athlete. As months stretched into years, Jaylen's career became more and more of a mystery. Still under contract, Adidas couldn't force him to race. They had been outmaneuvered by a teenager who had managed to secure a life-changing deal without ever having to live up to the expectations placed on him. The running joke had evolved into something more bitter. Jaylen had robbed Adidas. He had taken the money and never delivered. Jaylen's followers, still captivated by his story, continue to hold out hope that one day he will return to the track. Every few months, he would tease a comeback, posting cryptic messages. like it's almost time or stay ready, it's happening. But each time, just as before, he will pull out at the last moment, citing some new injury or personal issue. The legend of Jaylen Slade grew, not for what he had accomplished, but for what he hadn't. In a world obsessed with potential, Jaylen had been the embodiment of untapped promise. Yet as the years went by, it became clear. Jaylen Slade wasn't coming back. He didn't need to. He had already won a game before it even started.